Hey, what's going on guys? Migzuba here, and in today's video we're going to be taking a look at a Abzan counters deck for standard best of one. So before I get into it, I just want to talk about what happened during the MIQ. I was recording it, right, because I wanted that to be my video after making like a week of prep. But for those of you that don't know, I live in Canada, and we get a crap ton of snow here. So what ended up happening is I was playing this on my queue during a massive snowstorm, which is pretty standard for us, and the power actually cut out. Well, it didn't fully cut out. It would like flicker between on and off. So I ended up getting DC'd from two out of my games, which both counted as losses. So I really went 1-1 and then disconnected from two games. So I was just out and I was like, all right, well, that kind of blows after all that prep. But hopefully we can qualify for next month's, which leads me into my next thing I want to talk about, with the fact that I am trying to grind ladder. There's like a day left in the season, and I do also want to make a video, but I don't want to make a standard meta video because I've been doing that pretty much all week, and I want to take a look at something more fun. So today we're going to be playing this in a standard challenge. The deck isn't total ass, but it's not good enough to compete with the meta, full disclosure. It's just a fun little Abzan counters deck. So for those of you that want to see it, this is it. We're going to start out with the new card, Serulf Realm Eater. So this is a 3-mana 3/3, 1 black green, and it reads, whenever a permanent an opponent controls is put into a graveyard from the battlefield, put a +1/+1 counter on Serulf. Then at the beginning of your upkeep, if it has one or more +1/+1 counters on it, you may remove all of them, and if you do, exile each other non-land permanent with CMC less or equal to the number of counters you remove this way. So Serulf can power itself by basically combat or any removing creatures in any way, or actually any permanent. So basically whenever something gets removed, this thing buffs itself up. But I've surrounded it with a +1/+1 counter shell to basically make it massive, to essentially have a board wipe on hand whenever we need it to. So the rest of the deck is pretty much just filled out with a bunch of +1/+1 counter synergy cards to make the deck work. We have Swarm Shambler as just a 1-mana 1/1. It's a +1/+1 counter creature. It can get bigger and it replaces all of our +1/+1 counter creatures. Stonecoil Serpent, I mean, it's at the one spot. It can be your 1-drop. It basically just enters with +1/+1 counters on it. Reach Trample, protection from multicolored. Pretty powerful card, all in all. Aspirant, one of our best 2-drops. This card is really meta. You guys know it. Basically puts counters on anything that needs more counters. Heartless Act is cheap removal. The meta in standard events is a little bit more lank and budgety, and I know I'm going to play it there, but even so, I do want some direct removal. And honestly, if you're not a fan of Heartless Act or just want more creatures, this is really close to being a Mori deck, honestly. We run Heartless Acts and Vivians, but I can see you just replacing them with a bunch more creatures, like another Scavenging Ooze, maybe filling up the 3-drops a bit more, maybe a Polychronos, and then running Umori as companion, which would be pretty cool. But I really do like the Vivians. I think they make it worth running, and I think it makes it makes Umori not worth running to have this form of card advantage in the mid to late game. So Scavenging Ooze, great card, a +1/+1 counter card that's also very powerful. We aren't mono green or even Gruel, meaning our mana base doesn't exactly support eating full graveyard every turn, but we have a fair amount of green sources with the pathway and the triomes, or the pathways and the triome. So Ooze is pretty solid as well. Mentor kind of brings the whole deck together. Anytime a +1/+1 counter will be put on a creature, it doubles it or puts a second one. And when it dies, you get to heal a bunch. So against anything aggressive, this card is super great. We have Grakmaw. Okay, so Grakmaw enters as a 3/3 with 3 +1/+1 counters on it, very similarly to the Swarm Shambler. And then whenever a creature you control dies, if it had a +1/+1 counter on it, you beef up Grakmaw with a +1/+1 counter. And then when it dies, it replaces itself with another creature, the Hydra, that's power and toughness are equal to the amount of +1/+1 counters on it. So pretty good blocker, pretty good attacker, and it grows. So kind of like to fill out our strategy. Oran Reef Ooze, I'm not a huge fan of, but we're trying out one in the deck. When it ETBs, you put a +1/+1 counter on something, and then when it attacks, you can basically buff up your whole team because our whole deck is filled with +1/+1 counter synergies. So I hope the Ooze is going to shine here. I'm not a huge fan of this card, but I want to test it out some more. Bastry's Lieutenant, you guys know this card from basically any Winota Shell. It makes it so that if any of our +1/+1 counter creatures die, they get replaced with a 2/2 Knight, so great form of card advantage and a way to keep the board presence. Polychronos is an escape card, also a 4-mana 6/6 that can fight, is pretty powerful. It's a decent way to clean out yard against rogues, but 6 mana is a lot, especially for some sort of like kind of aggressive deck. This is pretty much aggressive, right? It's like an aggro deck, but like a combo-y aggro deck, and we're 3 colors, so a little bit slow. It's not optimal, is what I'm trying to say, but it's a lot of fun. And we do run 24 lands, so 6 mana might get difficult to get to, but it's also very possible. And finally, Vivian. We only run the other Vivians in the Heartless Axe, like I mentioned before. So the looking at the top card of your library and casting creatures from it is a very reliable source of card advantage. And making a beast on the plus and being able to search for any lower cost creature that you want on cast is very relevant. Like you can go Bastry's Lieutenant, search up Cerulf, or Cerulf, search up like a Ooze if you need to exile the yard, that type of thing. Mana base, we run all the pathways. They're the best land for the deck in each of their colors. Fair split from the mana. It's 2/2/2 and 2 passages because I do want to play the Triome. We're not exactly inclined on getting a 1-drop on turn 1. Like Shambler is nice and Ooze can always grow. So Triome is worth it for the mana fixing. If you don't want to play passage, you could just bump up the number of basics, or you can like trim the pathways, put more basics, put more passages. And if you want, you can try to get in like a Castle Locked Lane or something. Mana base is flexible. I've just settled on this. So that's it for the list, guys. If you like the deck, be sure to drop a like on the video and consider subscribing. It motivates me to make more content. So that's going to be it for me, guys. Let's get into some games. Okay, hand is pretty good. Let's go. We are on the play, and we get a pretty aggressive start with Shambler, Mentor into Shambler. And our opponent takes a mulligan, so that feels pretty good. We are going to start on green and see what we do from there. These pathways always lead to a lot of decision making. Like, not like crazy big brain decision making, but you know, we still got to make the call. Hello. Just get out the 1-mana 1/1. Another option is like crack this, because if I'm worried about hitting land 4, then going Mentor into double Shambler to get crazy value, but I think getting this out is worth it. If they have like turn 1, what's the card? Bloodchief's Thirst. Alright, there we go. 4th land anyways. Gonna play this out. Let's attack with the Shambler. And it looks like they're Gruel, so if they have a Bone Crusher Giant here, we're just sad. Saj. Okay, Gruel Snow. Maybe mono green splashing for something. Alright, let's put this on black. Heartless Act the Ooze. Destroy target creature with no counters on it. Attack with both, and then play out our 2/2. And then 1 mana 2/2. Yeah, feels good. Okay. So if we hold these back, then the Mentor makes them freaking huge. Okay, opponent goes for their 5/5 naturally. Draws a card. Alright, lots of shambling. We'll play this out. Play out our 3rd Shambler, and then pass. We're gonna start activating them, making them freaking big. Alright. No doubt, 2nd Lovestruck Beast. So we're doing a size matters game. And I don't want to crack this because I do want to hit land 5. And I don't necessarily want to thin my deck. And we don't need the 3rd mana, this has Summoning Sickness. Land. Alright, no land. Grakmaw? Alright, let's go for Grakmaw. Pretty big boy. And if ever one of these dies, we get more +1/+1 counters on Grakmaw. So, it looks like we're at a size matters stalemate. Oh my god, 3rd Lovestruck Beast. Nice draw, mate. Jesus. Maybe we should have just taken out the Innkeeper, prevented some of this card draw. Any attacks? That's a mistake. Alright, so we go here. Block. Check it. We'll grab green so we can cast Vivian. And we make this boy a 6/6. Nice Love Struck Beast. Yep. Alright, and we can go for a Shambler. Make Grakmaw even bigger. And the opponent scoops it up. Oh, we get the counter stuff going crazy, crazy. We literally beat a triple Love Struck Beast Edgewall Innkeeper draw. Whew. But yeah, so here we attack with Grakmaw and the 6/6 Shambler. And we just kind of go nuts. We hold the last two Shamblers back and make it a 5/5 and a 4/4 and just completely chill. If this blocks and trades, then we get another 6/6 and they have to chump block or double block to even take this out. And same for this, like we're in a crazy spot. Okay, hand is pretty good. We got all our colors because the pathways absolutely slap. Aspirant and Ooze along with Basri on 4. Okay, so what do we want? I actually hate these pathway decisions. We'll get this down on green. For sure. Pathway decisions in the early game legitimately stress me out, guys. And it looks like we're against Sultai. So we'll see how that goes. We'll see if they're just Sultai Ultimatum. Ooh, okay, Elves. Alright, this is why we're picking up standard challenges. They're a lot more chill. Alright. Get our white source down. Save this for double green. And I guess go for the Aspirant. Just try to get some early value. And we are going to want the double green. Because Vivian on 5 is relevant. So this will probably be a green source. We run the least amount of black. No blocks. This replaces itself. So maybe this is just... Well, it's not Golgari Elves. It's Sultai Elves. Alright, Sultai Elves it is. Alright, double Vivian's going to be nice. Get in there. And we'll play this Ooze out. I want to hold open the Eat. So I think we're going to put this on green for now, because we don't technically need black. Alright. And we'll hold open eating something with the Ooze. This can be an interesting race, but Lieutenant into Monsters Advocate can help us stabilize, or should help us stabilize. So this is actually pretty cool. 3-color aggro deck against a 3-color aggro deck. Like, respect. I wonder what the incentive to be in blue is. Like, you see Golgari Elves a lot. Alright, Harold, nice. And if you guys want to see Golgari Elves, like, I'm very down to do it. I just feel like a lot of content creators have played Elves, especially like weeks 1 and 2, when it was fairly new. And there were a lot of rares that I just didn't think were worth crafting. So we'll see. Yeah, we're gonna end up taking 5. Because as long as we take this damage, Basri's Lieutenant can come down and start replacing anything that may die. Okay, Sentinel. Cool. And, I mean, we're gonna eat this just because we can. They might run escape cards. Alright, Stonecoil Serpent isn't bad. Let's get this down on black, so we actually get a black source online. We can go to combat. I think we play this pre-combat. We can give everything a +1/+1 counter and then kind of hold back. We are down at 12, and we're going to get this down next turn. So, sure. Let's give the counter to the Lieutenant. Go to combat, give the counter to the Ooze, and no attacks. Okay, protection from multicolored is pretty good, because they have the Herald, even though it has Menace. So we'll see what we can get. Okay, yeah, they really are like Sultai Elves. Alright, we're gonna take a big drain here. Yep. But at least we have some good blocks. No attacks, because if we attack, they pretty much kill us on the way back. And we'll see if we can stall the board for a minute, and then accrue card advantage with Vivian, and just go super wide on them. We're getting incremental value every turn because of the Aspirant. Alright, Sentinel comes down. Interesting. I mean, I'll take a block on the Sentinel. I'll see what the opponent has in store for me. We have pretty good blocks all around. So Herald with the Menace kind of sucks. But I think we do start trying to trade. Our attacks with the Visionary too. What's the opponent's plan? I guess they're just trying to draw some cards with the Skemfar Avenger. And if they tap their Visionary, then they don't have 2 mana available. So I guess it's like this. Well, I don't exactly want to trade any of these creatures. We can't just block here though. We have to. So do we take 3? Eat this. Eat this. That might be the plan. Or we can do it like this, where we go block, block, and then block here. Yeah, I think that's good. They get to eat my ooze, which sucks because it does gain life. But we do get a 2/2 out of the deal. And we only take 1 damage. And I think keeping the Aspirants more worth it. Okay, Grakmaw, not bad. So, Monsters Advocate or Grakmaw? Let's go for the Monsters Advocate, but we'll do that post-combat. We can go to combat. Give the +1/+1 counter to the Lieutenant, because if we attack, they just block it with this. Unless I want to give it to this Knight so it replaces itself. I think we just go for the Lieutenant and try to get a Vigilant attack in. They can double block if they want. They choose to take 5, fair enough. And no attacks with the Knight because they just eat it here. So get another white source down. We already have double green. And we'll play Vivian. Okay, Conclave Mentor. That's going to be nice for gaining life. We'll plus give this boy, I guess, Vigilance. And pass the turn. Alright, we're not looking too bad. Opponent's down to 10. We're at 6. And we have a solid board. Okay, let me just double check Basri's Lieutenant. If it had a +1/+1 counter on it. Okay. I wanted to see if it said if it has a counter on it, because if this would replace itself, that'd be pretty solid. Alright, second Herald. I guess that's the downside of taking out Herald. Please, no more Shadow Sage. That would be bad. Alright, he finds a War Master, which can chump block fairly well. Or the War Master itself isn't going to chump block, but the Elves it generates can. Yep, that's what I mean. Wide board state. Okay. So Pathway on top feels bad. So what's the plan? I'm worried about another Shadow Mage. And I guess I only really want to get into the creatures with Vigilance. So, do we start with the Mentor? Because this will start putting counters. It makes everything enter with an extra +1/+1 counter. It will make this enter as a 4/4. Or anything that would enter with a +1/+1 counter. Plus it can gain life. It'll give whatever we beef up with the Aspirant 2 counters. Okay, let's go for the Mentor. I think we minus with the Vivian. Go for the Grakmaw. And fetch up not another Conclave Mentor, but another Aspirant. Alright. We can actually cast this for 0. That's pretty funny. Alright, so where do we want these counters to go, boys? If we make the Lieutenant a 7/8, or yeah, a 7/8, and it attacks. It doesn't have what's it called? We actually make this thing freaking huge. They have to chump block it. Or we can just go wider with our counters. If I put it here, it becomes a 4/4. Alright, let's put it on this so it can get a clean attack in. And I think we'll put it on the Mentor, because if it dies, it can gain us some life, which we really might need, but we don't exactly want to be blocking with it. So I think we just go on the Lieutenant some more. And we get some clean attacks in here. I mean, they can like mass block these, but if they do, that's fine. And it is lethal, so they do have to block. And if they're chump blocking, we're pretty happy. Even though they do get to draw some cards, they can only chump block so much. Okay, is this token or non-token? Another non-token. Okay, so they don't draw. Now, do I want to cycle this? Do I really want to draw this Stone Coil Serpent? I don't think so. I think I can do better. So we're literally going to pay 0. Nice. All right. Cool. Sarulf isn't bad. It can be a pseudo board wipe. Are we just dead to the Shadow Sage? Yep, that's what I was worried about. Oh, feels bad, guys. But if they didn't have that, we probably win from here, but just big drain is a problem. Okay, yeah, we got all our colors. We got 1, 2, 4, 5. I mean, the draw is going to need to smooth itself out, but this should be okay. We'll get Swarm Shambler down. We actually have a 3-drop now, so we just need some land, and the deck will be okay. We need double green, which we don't... I mean, we technically have triple green, but we don't want to put everything on green. We're putting this on green first because we need the white. Mono black Yorion. Mono black Control. I mean, if they take out the Swarm Shambler, then it's not the end of the world. It replaces itself, so that's pretty solid. Remove counter. Oh, what? Did they just hit the wrong thing? Well, gotta be careful with that. We'll put this on white because we know we're gonna need it. He's still reading the Swarm Shambler. Yeah, so when it becomes targeted, you get a 1/1. So yeah, when you Heartless Act, you have to hit the remove up to 3 counters, not just the destroy target creature with no counters on it. It won't work. Oh, they might have actually pressed the remove counters and then not selected the counters. I know that's a real problem. Okay. Sarulf. Not bad. Not bad at all. We'll put this on black. Now, Ooze or Sarulf. Sarulf can get, like, crazy big, but I think Ooze is the more aggressive card, so let's get that down first. I mean, is it even worth getting on first? If I put it on the battlefield, I kind of want the counter on it. Aw. Let's give him some love. Oh, he's probably upset. Alright, let's get the Ooze down. I wonder if we're going to see an extinction event. If we are, it's not the end of the world. They would need, like, 2. We have a 2 odd, 2 even. Alright, land off the top. And if ever they resolve this Yorion, Heartless Act looks pretty good. Let's see. Should I hit him with the Yorgo? Let's do it. Yorgo, mate. Takes out my Ooze. Fair enough. I don't get a 1/1. Draws a card. Probably trying to hit land. Did they scry? Okay, they're Dimir. Okay, interesting. So, if I attack, everything will get beefed up. Well, this will become a 4/4. This will become a 2/2. Do I want Sarulf down or do I want Grakmaw down? I think Grakmaw, because it replaces itself. And right now, I don't really want to wipe my own board, but I guess this has to be respected in some regards. So maybe it is Sarulf. Let's just attack first. Oh yeah, pop the squad. I mean, Sarulf also doesn't get bigger until we put counters on it when it attacks. So actually, let's go for Grakmaw. Because when it attacks, we'll pump the whole team. I like the idea of potentially taking out this tome, or any painful permanence the opponent plays. That's a lot of P's in that sentence, oh my god. But yeah, we also do need to hit land. We've kept the 3-lander and haven't drawn land since. And we'll see if our Dimir opponent can finish us off. or not finish us off, but deal with our onslaught of creatures. Eat to extinction. My Grakma. Okay, so when this dies, exile doesn't look like it counts as dies. Nope. Interesting card. I actually haven't seen Eat to extinction in a long time. I like how they gave this card Surveil without actually saying Surveil on it. That was pretty funny. Okay. Let me get off this. Let me get off this. So are they just dead? Yeah, they're just dead. We attack and kill them. They can't gain the life. And they just scoop it up, yeah. So this is what I mean. There's like a fairly decent aggro curve we can get. And the Ooze actually puts in some work. Pumping the whole team. I mean, if we attack twice. So, yeah. Good performance out of the boy. Okay. I mean, hand is decent. I think we go tap land into Mentor. And then maybe turn 3 Stone Coil into Lieutenant. We'll see if we have to Heartless Act around, like, along the way. But we should be okay. We're going to need one more land to actually get this entire sequencing. And Death Touch. Okay, we're on the Death Touch deck. And pass. The stick kind of gives away Stone Coil Serpent. I mean, as long as we take out their fin, then it doesn't look as scary. Alright, there's their fin. Fin has to die. Like, there's just no if, ands, or buts around it. So I guess we put this on green. And then just take Finn out. We don't do it now, we make them go to combat, because if we take out Finn and they have a second Finn, then they just play it pre-combat. Go for the boy Boot Nipper, okay? And we're going to destroy Finn. These Death Touch creatures are annoying. It means that our size matters, doesn't actually matter. Grakma replaces itself, but I do want to get the Enclave Mentor down before anything. And we might just have to start taking suboptimal trades. But if we have the Lieutenant online, then trades aren't bad because everything replaces itself. Or not everything, but you guys know what I mean. Alright, so do we take a trade here? I think we do. This deck is going to run out of gas way before we are. So we take out the Boot Nipper, go down to another poison counter. The size isn't going to be as relevant in this matchup. Ooh, this can't take damage. Ooh, hoo, hoo. Do we just soft counter you with this? Check it. If damage would be dealt to Polychronos, so it has a +1/+1 counter, prevent that damage and remove that when he +1/+1 counters. So this is like the perfect counter. Ooh, Vengeful Reaper. That's frustrating. But we have a reach blocker. So check. We're not actually going to die. Alright, we do have to be careful because we're getting awfully low on, not life, but poison counters. Alright, so we make this a 3/3, and we can also fight Finn. Is that the plan? Let's crack, grab some green. We already have 2 blacks in our triomes. I kind of like fighting Finn. It takes away from their strategy. So let's get in some damage. Actually push the offensive. And then eventually we can make a big reach creature. 3 mana fight. 3 mana to fight. I think just in case we play this as a 2/2, but no, it's not even worth it. Okay, let's pass. And hope they don't have instant speed removal. I mean, Heartless Act doesn't even do it. I guess it does if they're taking off the counters. And we fight Finn now. Take 2. That's A-okay. Alright, and I think we've stabilized fairly well. We're going to get in for 4. And we're going to make a reach blocker. Reach. Yep. End turn. Okay. So I actually do think this card is pretty good in the Death Touch deck, but I don't think it's worth not running Luris. Okay. So Basri's Lieutenant. I guess we put this on green because we don't need that much black, and if we draw a Ooze, we're going to be pretty happy. I guess we can go for this Basri's Lieutenant if we're going to play one. So, sure. and do it pre-combat to give this a counter. I guess plus the Vivian now. Could have minused it too, but it's okay. Reach. Happy to plus this thing all day long. Chump, or trade because Death Touch. Nice, nice. Give me a 2/2. And we'll just play this out. We can make reach blockers every turn. I think just playing out my hand and going super wide is worth it. So we'll see what the Death Touch player can do in the face of crazy value and Polychronos, which is a crazy counter to this. With the fight and the preventing damage, I just think this card is disgusting against Death Touch Tribal. Okay, so we just attack with all. And then we can, like, fight here and just kill them. Yep. And that's game. GG's. Not too shabby. Alright guys, and we are back. So this deck was a lot of fun, albeit not very competitive, but that's okay. Not every deck has to be the most competitive pile out there. I do think it's a lot of fun though, and it has a fairly powerful strategy. Like, once you get the cards lined up, the deck just pops off and you feel super great, like comboing Conclave Mentor and Luminarch Aspirant. I think it's just like the most sweet combo in the deck. Also, Oran Reef Ooze really overperformed. If you guys actually care about playing this, I would run more Oozes and maybe cut down on the Grakama by 1 and the Serulf by 1. Everything else looked pretty good. I like Vivian as a card advantage source in the mid to late game. And yeah, all these counter cards were pretty solid. Again, you can also try Fulamori. I think it would be worth cutting the Heartless Act, but I don't think it's worth cutting the Vivian. So, if you guys enjoyed, again, deck list will be in the description down below, and I will catch you in the next one. Peace out.